This is Late Night Health. This is the radio show that cares about the most important part of your life, your health. During the next hour, the insane Daryl Wayne and I are going to take a look at some issues that touch each and every one of us. During our second half of our show, we're going to talk with Robert Clancy about embracing change in our lives. We'll also be talking about a new app for your phone. It's a self-talk app. How to tell yourself everything's going to be okay. And we're going to begin with somebody who's been on Late Night Health a couple of times over the years, Dr. Stephen Sinatra from Health Directions. We're going to be talking about allergies because this is predicted to be, this spring and summer, it's predicted to be the worst allergy season, that's true, on record. Excuse me. Dr. Sinatra, welcome back to Late Night Health.
Hey, it's great to be here.
I'm really curious. There's been some connection between allergies and heart disease, and I want to talk about that. But first, you're in Florida. I'm here in Southern California. I'm starting to wheeze and sneeze already, and it's only been spring for 2 weeks. Anything we can do about that? Is that something serious to look at?
Well, here's the problem with allergies, and you are correct. The allergy season seems to be getting longer and longer. But the problem with allergies is that it sets up an inflammatory response in the body. And when that happens, we get inflammatory mediators sort of talking to one another. In other words, hormones go off, white blood cells increase, mast cells increase. The whole immune system gets heightened, so to speak. And I have to tell you, Mark, there's many, many people that feel absolutely miserable with allergies, whether it's itchy eyes or cough, or sometimes they get a little sore throat. But the worst thing is asthmatic symptoms. And the problem with allergies and asthma is there's a lot of asthma that is precipitated by not only, gasoline emissions and heavy metals in the atmosphere and air pollution, but when you add allergic components onto other air pollution situations, then you're in double handcuffs. And the worst symptom that I can think of with allergies is when it spreads to the lung. We call it extrinsic asthma. And when people get that, you have to be very, very cautious. Because I remember being a doctor on a day-to-day basis, we actually had to intubate. And that means put people on ventilators who develop severe respiratory infections as a result of allergies. So please don't take allergies lightly going forward.
I know that a couple of years ago, my wife forced me, you know how wives are, to go to an allergist, right? I did not want to go, but I did. They wanted to do testing. I said, I don't need testing. I know what I'm allergic to. So they tested me, and of course I'm allergic to olive trees, which are in abundance here in Southern California, as well as grass. If I walk on grass for a long period of time, especially if it's mowed, I start sneezing and hacking a little bit. They advised me to take some of the over-the-counter, even prescription drugs. I tried them, but I always have a reaction. Usually it's a severe headache. I just don't want to deal with it. What can we do about those symptoms? Or more importantly, is there a way of naturally avoiding the allergy itself?
Yeah, that's a great point. A lot of the over-the-counter allergy medications might give some people relief. However, in myself, for example, when I was an aging male in my 50s and 60s, when I took some of these allergy medications, I had a little difficulty with urination. And that seems to happen in, males in their 5th, 6th, and 7th decade of life. So they have to be very, very careful about using some of the classical allergy medications. But one of the best things you can do for allergies is try to cut down on the exposure. I used to have my patients take showers because we used to live in the Connecticut Valley, and the pollen used to circulate for miles because that's where the Connecticut River is. And I'll never forget it. I saw so many patients in the emergency room, and when I started telling my very sensitive patients to take showers at night, wash their hair, get the pollen out of their body, so to speak, with a late night shower, change the pillowcases, wash the sheets, do anything you can to lighten that allergenic load. That makes a big difference. And diet makes a difference as well. A lot of people don't realize this, Mark, but when you're allergic to one thing, it's almost like a horse's tail. Like how a horse's tail has all these different, hairs in it, these fibers. Well, once you become allergic to one thing, whether it's pollen or grass or anything, or a food for that matter, your reactions or your allergic reaction spreads out like a horse's tail. In other words, I had patients tell me they were allergic to pollen, 5 years ago, and now all of a sudden they're allergic to dairy. They do poorly with sugar. They do really bad with gluten. So for all listeners, it's important. Once you have an allergic condition to one item, that allergic condition can get worse, and it can spread out to other conditions as well. So, if you develop itchy eyes or a runny nose, or you have, God forbid, you have difficulty breathing or you're wheezing, think about not only what you put into your mouth, but what you're breathing as well.
Got it. And, of course, if you don't do that, you're a horse's patoot.
That's right.
Right? This is Late Night Health. I'm Mark Alyn. Our guest is Dr. Stephen Sinatra, who is a well-respected and well-known cardiologist. He also is a certified nutrition specialist, certified bioenergetic psychotherapist. Boy, could I use your couch. And an all-around good guy. Let's talk about some of those over-the-counter drugs. I've been told that if you take Sudafed or Benadryl, especially in men, as you said, 50, 60 or older, that there is a problem with urination. I personally have noticed it myself.
In other words, aging males have to be very, very cautious of taking any over-the-counter medications, especially the medications that dry you up, so to speak, or any of the, some of them are antihistamines, some of them are bronchodilators, but generally any class of drug that is being used for an allergic condition, an aging male needs to be very, very cautious, because I'll tell you, acute urinary retention in a male is, I got to tell you, Mark, it's a medical emergency. And unfortunately, I've seen a few of those situations, over my, years of being a doctor for almost 5 decades. And, males, especially, over the age of 50, need to be very cautious when they're using these over-the-counter medications.
Well, we are spending some time with a very young Dr. Sinatra. We're talking about allergies. Before we go to our upcoming work time here, can you tell us a little bit about Healthy Directions?
Oh, yeah, Healthy Directions is a vitamin and mineral and supplement company. Mark, it's amazing. I've been with them for over 25 years, and I really like what they do, because when I joined them years ago, and I started to develop my own vitamin and mineral supplements, I was really concerned about quality assurance. And I sleep really well at night because Healthy Directions has one of the best quality assurance programs going. First of all, any formula has to be approved by my eyes, and I have a lot of input in the formulas. And basically, what quality assurance means is that they look at other aspects. In other words, are there fillers in the product? Are there could be allergens in the product? I mean, could patients develop a downside from the product? Are there preservatives in the product, for example? So there's so many things that people can react to. So basically, quality assurance is very good. And the other thing is, many times label strength and what's in the capsule doesn't correlate. Let me give you an example.
I'll tell you what, Doctor, what we're going to do is we're going to take some time out. When we come back, let's talk about the correlation about what's on the label, because it's supposed to be in the pill by federal regulations. I'm Mark Alyn. This is Late Night Health. Join us at latenighthealth.com. You'll see a pretty picture of Daryl and me and even Dr. Sinatra. More coming up as Late Night Health continues. Recently, I met Jacqueline from Bright here in Los Angeles. She gave me a hearing exam and then showed me how to hear again with the new Signia Pure Series hearing aids, and she can give you your life back too. I hear birds chirping, birds cooing, and even my wife. They easily connect to my smartphone. The Signia hearing aids are amazing, and with the charge and go, I don't have to fiddle with batteries and hear all day long. Not hearing is frustrating for you and your family. I know you don't have a problem, but trust me, call Bright Here now for a free hearing exam, a $125 value, yours free, just for making an appointment now. There are offices throughout the Los Angeles area. Call Bright Here now at 323-424-7100. That's 323-424-7100 for a free hearing exam. There's no obligation. Call now, 323-424-7100, or visit them on the web at brighthere.com. Late Night Health is proud of our partnership with the EBC, the Evolutionary Business Council. Check them out at ebcouncil.com.
You're listening to Late Night Health with Mark Alyn. The show continues in a moment. If you're listening to Late Night Health right now, you're part of the growing target of baby boomers we're serving. Hi, I'm Daryl Wayne, producer of Late Night Health, inviting you to join the Late Night Health family. If you have any business targeting the growing boomer market, Late Night Health is the ideal advertising vehicle for you. From vitamins to insurance, alternative health to Western-style medicine, Late Night Health caters to the growing population of those over 40 years old. This vibrant demographic has expendable income to fight aging, purchase travel, take care of aging parents, or just have fun. Find out about the advertising opportunities with Late Night Health. Call us at 805-391-0308. That's 805-391-0308, or email us at info@latenighthealth.com. That's info@latenighthealth.com. Join Late Night Health as we empower people to take charge of their own health care. Call now at 805-391-0308. That's 805-391-0308.
Late Night Health continues. I'm Mark Alyn, along with the insane Daryl Wayne. Be sure to join us at facebook.com/Late Night Health Radio. We appreciate any comments, any ideas, any thoughts, and you can also visit us at latenighthealth.com. Our guest is Dr. Stephen Sinatra. We're talking about the worst allergy season expected right now. It started. I know that I personally have felt it. Before we took our time out, Dr. Sinatra was going to tell us about the labeling. And my understanding, doctor, is that if it says 50 milligrams of vitamin C on the label, there better be 50 milligrams of vitamin C in that tablet or capsule.
You're absolutely right, Mark. And I'll tell you, when I was first starting to use vitamins and minerals in my patients, I'm talking, 30 to 40 years ago, I'll never forget it. I was using coenzyme Q10, and I had some patients do really well on some brands, and I had some patients that didn't do well. So you know what I did? I tested the what we call the assay strength of the capsule. I sent it out to laboratories. And, Mark, I was shocked. I saw some capsules that said 30 milligrams on the label, and actually they only had 2 milligrams of coenzyme Q10 in the capsule. And that's why I had some of my patient failures, and that's why quality assurance is so important. So, yes, you are correct. Assay strength has to be the same as the label configuration. In other words, if a person is taking 30 milligrams of coenzyme Q10 or 100 milligrams, they want to make sure that whatever the label says is correct. So, that's one of my really good attributes about Healthy Directions is that they really follow a very, very robust quality assurance program.
And that's, of course, required by the FDA. Not that I believe everything the FDA says and does, but this is something I do believe in. It's required to be tested when they get the ingredient, as it goes into the capsule, and once it's actually mixed into the capsule. And I think that quality assurance from companies such as Healthy Directions is as important. What can people take? What would you recommend for allergies, especially the respiratory allergies? And, CoQ10 is something that I know is good for the heart. Would that be something that would be a good allergy preventive?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. One of the things that CoQ10 does, and this just came out in a 2020 publication, by the way, a paper, is that it's a very potent, what we call inflammatory mediator inhibitor. In other words, whenever we get infections or even whether it's COVID-19 or allergies for that matter, we put out inflammatory mediators like interleukin-6. We raise our levels of C-reactive protein. There's another mediator called NF-kappa B. But whatever they are, what coenzyme Q10 does, it blunts them. In other words, it repels them, and it lowers the levels of these inflammatory mediators. And whenever you do this, you're actually supporting the overall immune response, because what you don't want to get into is what we call an overzealous cytokine storm. And that's one of the problems with COVID-19 is where the immune system goes on hyper alert. And when that happens, we can get what we call hemorrhagic lesions in the lung, endothelial cell dysfunction, et cetera, et cetera. But I'll tell you, one of the nutrients that I really fell in love with was quercetin. And it actually went back 30 or 40 years, Mark, when I was a board-certified cardiologist treating people on a day-to-day basis. I'll never forget, I came across an article from Holland showing that people, they were looking at men only, and they were looking at death as the end point. In other words, they were looking at aging men. And what they found was the men, these Dutch men who lived the longest, and they didn't care whether they died of cancer or heart disease or Alzheimer's. They didn't care about that. They just were looking at longevity. The men who took in the most quercetin, which is found in onions, for example, or green apples, or even black tea, the men who took in those substances that contained quercetin, they lived the longest. And I'll never forget it as a cardiologist because it really resonated with me. So quercetin is one of the herbs and supplements we can use for not only any respiratory infection, but also allergies as well. It blunts allergies. And I really like quercetin because it has a great effect on what we call the mast cells, or the cells that can involve with allergic conditions in our body. I like vitamin D. Vitamin D is awesome, even against COVID-19. I mean, people who have the higher blood levels of vitamin D, and you need blood levels of at least 30 to 35 to make a difference. But vitamin D is a great agent against allergies. I recommend at least 2,000 to 4,000 units a day for anybody who's dealing with, allergic rhinitis or cough or anything like that. There's another supplement that's called NAC, capital NAC, and the name is really like N-acetylcysteine. And I love this one, Mark, because this is a substance that we take as a supplement, and it's broken down to what we call glutathione in the body. And glutathione, when it combines with selenium, another mineral, and vitamin C, it forms glutathione peroxidase, which is the most fantastic, immune robusting or immune breaking substance that supports the immune system and quiets down the inflammatory response. And then over the last few years, I started to use andrographis. This is another one. This is sort of an herb that comes from India and China. And it's amazing because what it does, it increases the antibody response, it supports the immune system, and it increases what we call phagocytosis. In other words, our white blood cells engulfing viruses, bacteria, which, can tend to get more plentiful, especially around allergies, because you can't clear your mucous membranes or your alveoli in your lungs or your lung passages for that matter. So Andrographis is not only antiviral, but it's also anti-inflammatory. And in fact, in Thailand, this is amazing, Mark, in Thailand, they're using this Andrographis herb as a COVID-19 inhibitor. So, whether you're dealing with allergies or respiratory infections, any of these supplements would be in my top 4. Quercetin, vitamin D, N-acetylcysteine, and Andrographis.
I had a couple of comments here. Dr. Fauci himself has said vitamin D is something everybody should take. I personally am taking 5,000 units a day because that's the pill I bought. That's one. 2, back to Holland. The Dutch eat a lot of herring, and I think that's got to be good for something too.
Absolutely. Now you're talking about omega-3s. You're absolutely right. A potent anti-inflammatory on the omega-3 essential fatty acids. Remember, the body can't make that, so you have to take it in a diet. So herring is good. Sardines are really good as well. So, any small fish, they won't have the mercury or the heavy metal contamination. So I'm all in on very, very smaller fish like that.
You're right. I've got a whole case of sardines in my kitchen from Wild Planet. They're really good, and you don't have to look at the fish heads, by the way, because they take them off for you.
That's right.
My wife doesn't like the heads; otherwise, she'll eat it. With the allergy season going up. And just, really killing more and more, hitting more and more people. Can it lead to death through cardiovascular disease?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I'll tell you, Mark, like I said before, I remember many cases, when I was treating heart disease on a day-to-day basis. I would see patients with allergic infections going down into the lung, causing bronchospasm and difficulty breathing. And unfortunately, the allergy was a precipitating cause of the pneumonia, and the pneumonia was a cause of these patients not breathing. They had to be intubated, put on ventilators. So, we don't want to take allergies lightly, and sometimes people have to move away. Even moving out, like, for example, if a person is in a high allergenic load and they're miserable and they're suffering, even driving maybe 12 hours away or taking a plane somewhere and going into a different climate can make all the difference in these people, because once they get away from the allergenic load, that they feel much better. It's just amazing.
Doctor, thank you very much. Hey, will you come back soon? It's been too long.
Oh, I'll be happy. Yeah, we can talk about earthing. We can talk about all the great stuff that really supports not only the immune system, but our autonomic nervous system as well. It helps to balance it out. So I'm all in when it comes to earthing and grounding as well. It's a great attribute to bring to our health.
All right. Dr. Steven Sinatra has been our guest from Healthy Directions. I'm Mark Alyn. Late Night Health continues.
Sometimes it's not what you say, it's how you say it. Words are a critical aspect of success. How you get your point across is a crucial part of what makes anything sell. So do it right and hire a writer. Whether it's articles, blog posts, technical writings, website content, product descriptions, or ghostwriting anything from a novel to a nonfiction book about your navel, contact Servet Hassan. If you want it to sell, write it right. Email Servet at servet@servethassan.com.
There's a lot of talk all over the internet about the remarkable benefits of Carbon-60, and baby boomers are especially excited about it. Greska's Carbon-60 is the premium Carbon-60, developed by an aerospace and NASA scientist. 95% of Greska's customers report positive results from this Nobel Prize-winning technology in just 4 days. Imagine more energy, better health, and more vitality. It's very bioavailable to quickly mend toxin-crippled cells. This is a super powerful antioxidant. Bob Greska is so confident that you'll love his Carbon-60, he wants to send send you a bottle at 50% off the regular price to see how life-changing this will be for you. Call 720-600-6040. That's 720-600-6040. Visit c-60.com to learn more. Call 720-600-6040 now or visit c-60.com.